freaking bats. I love Halloween.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another EDH video. Today's video, we are on day 7 of 25 days of deck building, and we are on Orzhov. Today we're talking about Zoraline, Cosmos Caller. She's a 1 generic and an Orzhov, legendary creature bat cleric from Bloomburrow. Flying Vigilance, whenever a bat creature you control attacks, you gain 1 life. And then whenever Zoraline enters or attacks, you may pay Orzhov and 2 life. When you do, return target non-land permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. So for these 25 days of deck building, I've been building a lot of tribal. So we're going to do bat tribal, because bat tribal is really cool. And also, I think I know somebody who has a bat tribal deck, and I think it's cool. I looked at the list; it's pretty cool. Anyways, Zoraline focusing on bat tribal. I didn't really focus too much on the second ability, but I did make a lot of bats. There's a lot of bats in here. There's also ways to make bats, create bats, all kinds of bats. I'm not talking about baseball. I'm talking about like bat creatures. If anybody got that confused. Anyways, let's get right into what's actually in the deck. Alright, so we got 34 creatures, 6 sorceries, 10 instants, 7 artifacts, 6 enchantments, and then 36 lands. Just kind of smoothing all the way around, you know. $157, pretty cheap. Not like $1 million, but $157. It's not too bad. Anyways, let's get right into what's up first. We have ramp, as always. We're going to go straight in the ramp. We got Arcane Signet, 2 generic, add 1 mana of any color, and your commander's color identity. We know what this card does already. I've talked about it a million times already. Felwar Stone, 2 generic, add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. It's an artifact, 2 generic. We got Mind Stone, 2 generic, tap it for colorless. 1 generic, sacrifice it, draw a card, artifact. We know what this one does. I put it in like every deck. I don't know why. I just love the card. We got Orzhov Signet, 2 generic, 1 generic, tap it, add Orzhov. It's an artifact. We all know what this one does. Soul Ring. Oh man. I honestly wish I would stop putting it in decks, but I just can't because it's just too good. We already know what it does. Smothering Tithe, 3 generic and in white. Whenever an opponent draws a card, if they don't play 2, you create a treasure. An enchantment, of course. It's not really ramp, but I put it in here anyways. And then we have Talisman of Hierarchy, 2 generic. You can tap it to make a colorless, or you can tap it to make a white or a black, and it deals 1 damage to you. Land tax, not really ramp, but if an opponent controls more lands than you on your upkeep, you search for 3 basic land cards, put them into your hand. It's more like a draw, but all right, now we're getting into draw. So we were just talking about land tax, now we're talking about draw. We got Village Rites. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature and draw 2 cards. It's 1 mana. 1 mana, draw 2 seems pretty good. And we got Starlight Soothsayer, 2 generic and a black. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained or lost life this turn, surveilled. Not really card draw, but it's a bat and it does surveil things. Next up, we got Sign in Blood, 2 black. Target player draws 2 cards and loses 2 life. Most of the time, we're going to choose yourself, but if somebody's low, you can choose them. Star Charter, 3 generic and a white. If you've gained or lost life this turn, you look at the top 4 and reveal a creature card with power 3 or less and put it into your hand. Night's Whisper, 1 generic and a black. You draw 2 cards, you lose 2 life. Same deal with the other one, but you don't target with this one. We got Deadly Dispute, 1 generic and a black. As an additional cost to cast the spell, sacrifice an artifact or a creature, draw 2 cards, and create a treasure token. Pretty good. Darkstar Augur, 2 generic and a black. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put that card in your hand. You lose life equal to that mana value, and it also has Offspring. Courier Bat, 2 generic and a black. Enters the battlefield. If you gain life this turn, return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Cleric class, main thing we care about is the level 3. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You gain life equal to its toughness. Akhlazot's Deepest Betrayal, 3 generic and 2 black. Attacks. Each opponent discards a card. For each opponent who can't, you draw a card. And then beginning of whenever an opponent discards a land, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. It's also a bat god and creates bats. A Valley Quest Caller, 1 generic and a white. Whenever 1 or more bats enters the battlefield, you scry 1, and they also get +1/+1. Lunar Convocation. It's an Orzhov. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, each opponent loses a life. And at the beginning of your end step, if you gained and lost life this turn, create a 1/1 bat, and then you can pay a black, 2 life, and draw a card. Next up, we got Removal. We're in white black, so we have some good choices. We have a Vindicate, 1 generic, and an Orzhov. Sorcery, destroy target permanent. It's at sorcery speed, so it's not the greatest, but it's destroy target permanent. Toxic Deluge, 2 generic, and a black. As an additional cost to cast a spell, pay X life. All creatures get -X, where X is the amount of life you paid. Swords of Plowshare, 1 white, exile target creature controller gains life to its power. Sonar Strike, 1 generic and a white. It deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking or tapped creature. You gain 3 life if you control Bat tribal path to exile. Exile target creatures. Controller may search the library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. Generous Gift, 2 generic and a white. Destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green elf creature token. Instant speed, pretty good here. Fracture, Orzhov, destroy target artifact or enchantment or planeswalker. Planeswalker doesn't come up often, so mainly the other two. We got D-Spark. It's an Orzhov. Exile target permanent with mana value 4 or greater. We have Crippling Fear, 2 generic, 2 black. Choose a creature type. Bats. Creatures that aren't the chosen type get -3/-3 until end of turn. We got frickin' bats. I love bats. Anyways, we have Basilica Screecher, 1 generic and a black. Creature bat, flying, extort. So whenever you cast a spell, you may pay hybrid Orzhov. If you do, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain that much life. It's a 1/2 bat. Next up we have Belfry Spirit, 3 generic and 2 white. Creature spirit, flying, haunt. When this card is put into the graveyard from play or removed from the game, haunt target creature. When it comes into play or haunts a creature, you create 2 bats. Blightkeeper, 1 black, flying. You can pay 8 mana and sacrifice it, and target opponent loses 4 and you gain 4. It's a bat imp, 1/1. Don't care about that 8 mana ability. We got Blind Hunter, 2 generic, and an Orzhov, flying, haunt. When it enters the battlefield or the creature it haunts dies, target player loses 2 life and you gain 2. It's a 2/2 bat for 4, so kind of bad. But next up we got Blood Hunter Bat, 3 generic and a black. Creature bat, flying. When it enters the battlefield, target player loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. It's a 2/2. So 2/2/2/2. There's a lot of 2s on this card. Also a lot of Bs on this card. A lot of Bs. And next we got Deep Cavern Bat, 1 generic and a black. Creature bat, flying, lifelink. Whenever it enters the battlefield, look at target opponent's hand. You may exile non-land card from it until Deep Cavern Bat leaves the battlefield. It's a 1/1 bat. Also the art is kind of crazy looking. Like, what is that? That's create a tomb, 3 generic. Whenever 1 or more creature cards leave your graveyard, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. That's also an artifact, so it can just go wherever. Your commander kind of does bring stuff back, so this will happen a good bit. We have Dirge Bat, 2 generic, 2 black. Mutate, 4 generic and 2 black. Bat, flash, flying. When this creature mutates, destroy a target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. It's a 3/3 bat. Probably just mutate our commander, honestly. Dusk Hunter Bat, 1 white, or not 1 white, 1 black and 1 generic. A Bloodthirst, it's a bat, flying, 1/1. Can also be a 2/2, I guess. It could be a 2/2 for 2, flying bat. Essence Channeler, 1 generic and a white. As long as you've lost life this turn, it has flying and vigilance. Whenever you gain life, put a +++ counter on Essence Channeler. Whenever it dies, put its counters on target creature you control. It's a 2/1 bat cleric. Next up, we got Etchings of the Chosen, 1 generic and an Orzhov. Enchantment, choose bats. Creature you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. You can sacrifice a creature of the chosen type. Target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. A really good card for tribal decks, especially for this one. You want to save your commander. Ghastly Gloom Hunter, 1 generic and a black. Kicker, flying, lifelink. As long as it was kicked, it enters the battlefield with 2 +++ counters on it. It's a zombie bat, 1/1. The art for bats is just always absolutely crazy looking. Glide Dive Duo, 4 generic and a black. Bat Lizard, flying. Whenever it enters the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. It's a 3/3 Bat Lizard. The Bat Lizard is such a good typing. Also, there's a flying lizard with a cape. Grimclaw Bats, 1 generic and a black. Creature bat, flying. Pay a black, pay a life. It gets +1/+1 until end of turn. We're not going to do that very often, probably, but this I keep saying the arts are crazy, but this one, what's going on? Gurmag Swiftwing, 1 generic and a black. Creature bat, flying, first strike, haste, 1/2. It's one of the only haste creatures in the deck. I don't even know what set that's from. Anyways, let's go to the next card because I have no idea. Life Creed Duo, 1 generic and a white. Creature bat bird, flying. Whenever another creature you control enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. Fun fact, this was in the Castral deck if you already watched that video. If you haven't, go back and watch it because this card was in there. Malakar Familiar, 2 generic and a black. Creature bat, flying, death touch. Whenever you gain life, Malakar Familiar gets +1/+1 until end of turn. With your commander, it's kind of wild. It can be like a 50-50 swinging in. Well, I don't think you're going to be swinging with 50, but anyways. Moonrise Cleric, 1 generic Orzhov hybrid creature bat cleric flying. Whenever it attacks, you gain 1 life, and it's also a 2/3. I actually really like this art. It's very, very majestic looking bat here. We have Moonstone Harbinger. I don't know. 2 generic and a black creature bat warrior flying death touch. Whenever you gain or lose life during your turn, bats you control get +1/+0. Gain death touch until end of turn. This ability triggers only once each turn. If it didn't have that clause, it would be so much better. Regal Bloodlord, 3 generic and an Orzhov. Creature vampire soldier flying. At the beginning of each end step, if you gained life this turn, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. It's not a bat, but it's close enough because it's a vampire. We have Sanguine Evangelist, 2 generic and a white. Creature, vampire cleric, battle cry. Whenever it enters the battlefield or dies, create a 1/1 black bat creature token with flying. Also not a bat, but it's a vampire, so close enough. And there's bats in the picture. Screeching, Scorch Beast, 4 generic and 2 black creature bat mutant. Flying Menace. Whenever it attacks, each player gets 2 rad counters. And whenever one or more non-land cards are milled, you may create that many 2/2 black zombie mutant creatures. Do this only once each turn. Skeletal Vampire. 4 generic, 2 black vampire skeleton flying. Whenever it enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 black creature tokens with flying. You can pay 5 mana, sacrifice a bat, and create 2 1/1 black bats. And then you can sacrifice a bat, regenerate skeletal vampire. We have Sturge, 1 black flying. Sturge can't block. You can pay 1 in a life, or a black and a life, and sacrifice it and draw a card. Insect bat. It looks kind of like a mosquito, but anyways. Let's get into Starseer Mentor, 3 generic and an Orzhov, creature, bat, warlock, flying vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained or lost life this turn, target opponent loses 3 life unless they sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card. Gives him some choices here. It's a 5 mana 3/5, not very good, but Valley Rockcaller, 1 generic and a black creature, squirrel, warlock, menace. Whenever it attacks, each opponent loses X life and you gain X life, where X is the number of other squirrels, bats, lizards, and rats you control. I think there's bats in the art, so it works. Wax Wayne Witness, 3 generic and a white. Flying Vigilance. Whenever you gain or lose life during your turn, Wax Wayne Witness gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Flying Vigilance, 2/4 Bat Cleric. Also very cool art. I will keep talking about the art until I don't. Vito Thorn of the Duskgross, 2 generic and a black. Vampire Cleric. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life, and then you can give your creatures lifelink with 3 generic and 2 black. So this works with our commander. Whenever we gain life, they lose that much life, so they're gaining, they're losing double life pretty much. Riding Blight Priest, a 2 generic and a black vampire cleric. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. Same thing works with our commander. It's a vampire. I don't see any bats in there, but I do see some insects, and those are close enough. Sanguine Bond, 3 generic, 2 black enchantment. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. Same thing works with our commander. We've got Batwing Brum, 1 generic and an Orzhov hybrid. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn if you paid white was spent to cast Batwing Broom. Each player loses 1 life for each attacking creature he or she controls. If black was spent to cast it, do both if you spent Orzhov to cast it. It has bat in the name, that's why it's on here. Lands, 10 swamps. Yeah, that's it. Yep, we're just going to run 10 swamps. No, I'm just kidding. We also have 10 plains. I know, I told you guys I like to keep them even, and I'm trying to keep them even here. So 10 plains, 10 swamps. Then we have Bajuka Bog, enters tapped, enters exile target player's graveyard. It also taps for black. Doesn't have a land type, just land. Bright Climb Pathway, land taps for white, and if you choose to put it on the black side, it taps for black. Comes in untapped. I like the pathways. People hate on them though. Caves of Kulos, tap it for colorless. Also tap it for a white or a black, and it deals a damage to you. Not tutorable, kind of sucks though. Command Tower, add 1 mana of any color, and your commander's color identity. Actually good in the dual color deck because you can tap for 2. Concealed Courtyard, enters battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or fewer other lands. Not very good, but taps are white or black. Exotic Orchard, add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. You have to be playing against a white or a black deck. It's possible. Fetid Heath, colorless. You can pay an Orzhov hybrid into it and get a white, a white black, or a black black. Isolated Chapel, enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a plains or a swamp. Also taps for a white or a black. Not too durable. Mudflat Village, colorless. Tap it for colorless. Tap it for a black. Spend this only to cast creature spells, and then you can return target bat to your graveyard to your hand, I think, if you sacrifice it. Shattered Sanctum enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or more other lands. Taps are white or black. Shine Shadow Snarl enters the battlefield tapped unless you reveal a plains or a swamp. Taps are white or a black. Not tutorable. Kind of matters. Silent Clearing. Pay 1 life, tap it, add a white or a black. You can also pay 1 generic and sacrifice it and draw a card, so you get some extra card draw. Tainted Field. Tap it, add a colorless, and tap it, add a white or a black. Activate only if you control a swamp. Again, not tutorable. Then we have 3 Tree City. Chooses a creature type. Bat. Tap it, add a colorless. Pay 2, choose a color, add any amount of mana equal to the amount of those creatures you control. All the champions enters the battle tap unless you have 2 or more opponents. Taps are white or black. Witch's Cottage. Cottage enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more swamps. But when it enters untapped, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the top of your library. Anyways, this is Zoraline Bat Tribal deck. Shout out to anybody who plays Zoraline because bats are awesome. And yeah, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like, subscribe, comment down below that freaking bats are awesome. And also, don't forget to follow me on Blue Sky and also join the Discord. Everything's down in the description. Super easy to find. There's a link tree that literally links you to every single thing that I've ever made. Anyways, peace out.